Thanks for staying with us. So today we're starting with the nation. Tinubu, multiple exchange rates and petrol subsidy to go. Federal government attacks Atiku over border reopening promise. Wike allies to unveil preferred presidential candidate next month. 94% of cash transactions fall within 500,000 naira limit. Criminals won't stop 2023 poll, says minister. Okay, which story are we starting with? Let me start with the major headline. The standard bearer for APC was in Victoria Island yesterday at a business luncheon, the business owners event tagged Business Forward. And the meeting was held in VI with quite a lot of eminent business owners were there. He was accompanied by his team, Dimeji Bankole, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, Delia Laki, and a bunch of others. And he was saying specifically that subsidy must go, that we can hold him to that. That subsidy and exchange rates will be, they'll scrap multiple exchange rates, and definitely the subsidy would go. He also promised to fix power. He says he's guaranteeing the ease of doing business in the country and introduce student loan, amongst many other things. He said it was a very interesting meeting where he and the business leaders, I think Owando, the MD, was there. Quite a lot of other business leaders were also seated, and it was good for them to hear directly from him. It was an interesting meeting. Okay.
The CBN, just as the governor of the central bank had promised, sent his deputy governor for financial system stability, Mrs. Ijesha Ahmed, to the House of Reps yesterday. So in plenary, she explained this cash withdrawal limits clearly. She said that, shockingly, only 94% of cash transactions fall within 500,000 weekly in this country. So what exactly are we talking about? If the majority don't spend that much money. Yeah. And they said about 82% of the corporate transactions fall within the limits of the 5 million weekly as well. So she explained that this is not a political move and that even the currency change focused on how it's spent in rural areas and, more people spend. So the lower denominations were not changed because that's what most people spend use, in rural areas more. And that, they only dealt with...
And they have data. We just shouldn't assume that...
Yes. So this they are also promising that they are already printing about 500 million of the new notes that will be arriving, pieces of the redesigned Naira that will be arriving very soon. And so
the scarcity of the new notes.
No, but they're saying they disclose that this is the amount that they are printing.
I really like her to come on the show because she really took her time to discuss this cashless policy. And I think it's something we need to discuss, and Nigerians must understand, because we just go on social media and say so many things without information or data. But let's see the data the government have with them at their disposal. Sorry?
Everybody got quiet.
Calm down.
Yes.
Everybody now calm down.
Okay.
Information is important.
Yeah. So the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, yesterday was really criticized for promising to reopen the nation's borders if elected. So according to the Information, Culture and Tourism Minister, Lai Mohammed, he faulted the plans, saying that the border closure policy, if reversed, would be counterproductive to all the good things that the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has been trying to do. That one of the reasons they closed the border in the first place was to curb the proliferation of arms. You know, how light arms were being smuggled into the country, PMS were being smuggled out of the country, and they tried as much as possible to increase local production in the country. And so if he reopens the border because he's seeking for election, he will end up disenfranchising all the people who have started businesses producing rice. You know, the government wanted us to be able to be food sufficient and self-reliant in terms of our food production. And then all the people who already have their rice mills, they have their rice businesses ongoing, will lose out and lose their jobs, because then the borders will be open for everybody to just smuggle in whatever it is that they're bringing in. So he needs to look into this. Right. Not just to get elected.
I have a story.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yesterday, at the 15th edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration scorecard series that has been ongoing since 2015 till date, the Minister for Police Affairs, Mohammed Yadi, declared that no matter the level of attacks on INEC offices, no matter the attack, any criminal element, that the elections will take place everywhere in the country. They say elections will be conducted in all parts of this country,
Certainly.
regardless of the criminal attack. If we recollect, some unknown persons have destroyed INEC offices in Imo, in Oshun, and Ogun State. And they think that by doing these actions, they will probably be able to stall the elections. But the Minister for Police Affairs has said that regardless of whatever any criminal elements they do, no criminal elements will be able to hijack the elections in 2023.
Which is good, but I'd like you to send soldiers there to do the elections. Because I don't know say that NYSC children or kids,
okay.
nobody's going to release their children to go to those areas. So they should please get.
But you know, Anambra was hot
militarizing.
for elections.
Yeah.
And then elections took place.
Sit at home. The ex-governor there. If it's only 2 people that come out, it's the 2 people that vote.
Okay. Cash limits not anti-people. CBN insists. Reps knock immediately. You said that they calm down. They said reps knock. Read the article. Killers of US-based hotelier, Lagos-Ibadan highway kidnappers arrested. Driver dies, passenger escapes as container crushes vehicles. Manufacturers pay 400 billion naira tax, lament economic crunch. FG inaugurates a 145 billion naira Safe Schools plan, seeks financial support. Yoruba Nation agitators welcome Akintoye's exit, backs Adeniran. NNPC marketers plan 148 naira to the litre while Tinubu's insist on subsidy removal. Excuse me. FG may reintroduce telecom tax in 2023, says report. Okay, which story are we taking?
The human interest story. I think we saw the viral video of, this truck, bus driver or vehicle driver that was crushed by a truck. I'm trying to get the story exactly. So they said he's not been identified yet, but he was killed in a road accident on the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway by PM filling station Sele Inward Mile 2, Lagos State. This happened yesterday around 1 p.m. And according to the eyewitnesses, they said this truck was, trying to maneuver the road, and this bus driver was, going against his own lane. And one way. Then
It's so popular.
So they said that one way is like a attempted murder.
Yes,
it's not even,
is. So
But
the
in those
car
areas,
driver
it's not normal.
It's not
died
normal.
instantly, yeah.
Because right now they're doing the coconut end to Sele, and they've moved inward Sele. Even I sometimes have to sit in traffic for hours. You just see these buses all the way
Taking
from
But that
Sele.
doesn't mean the trailer should, the
Yeah,
container
but
should fall.
The container
No,
will
now
then
we're trying to
try to
maneuver,
maneuver.
yeah.
Because they come in droves. Keke, I keep driving this way.
we,
and
the
that.
people, we say, they'll say it's government.
It's sad that, somebody has died.
So when government says one way is taken as attempted murder, we'll complain.
They will not
Yeah.
This is exactly what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Let's go on a
Killed
break.
another person.
When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we'll continue with Punch. There was a story. Who has a story in Punch?
Okay, so I have the picture story in Punch. The kidnappers responsible for the death of the hotelier, the US-based hotelier, Odo-Olowu, that returned to the country sometime this year, have been arrested in Oyo. The Oyo State Police Command arrested about 13 criminals. Three amongst them were kidnappers of that and the murderers of the US hotelier. They kidnapped one, Waheed Ahmed, and they were negotiating his ransom and saying to him, if the police shoot out towards this operation, what happened to that man will happen to you. We kidnapped him. We also murdered him because, police interfered. And so while they were threatening him, the command had sent out some of their officers who were able to happen upon the place where they were holding the Katurera hostage, Waheed Ahmed. And, they rescued him. He was not saying, this was the threat that they had issued to him while he was in captivity with them. And so they were paraded along several other criminals. And this is well done to the police command in Oyo.
So I want to take the story of the federal government may introduce telecom taxes in 2023. While there's an invitation to the hearing, it's a one-day hearing and submission of memoranda on the 2023 finance bill released by the House of Representatives Committee on Finance. So for everybody that is interested and is against it, just ensure you are at this hearing. And if we recollect, they suspended the excise duty on telecoms before, on telecom services, but now they might be bringing it back into 2023. The Minister for Finance and Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced at the forum organized by the Nigerian Commission Communication Commission that the excise duty was already in place in 2020, but has never been implemented. And it would affect the rate of calls and data. But, you know, it's part of the ways, and it will be the standard duty that they charge on excise activities, but it is part of what we want to use to increase funds.
More reports from Minister of Finance, Dr. Zainab Hamad. She was saying that the country will be investing 144.8 billion naira for the National Plan on Financing Safe Schools 2023 to 2026. And this is supposed to reduce the number of out-of-school children and improve Nigeria's rating in the Human Capital Index in the long run. They also launched the Agenda 2050. According to them, this development plan was focused on achieving inclusive growth through the implementation of the long-term economic transformation blueprint aimed at mitigating our current developmental challenges. And they hope to have, I think it's a 7% growth rate by 2050, with about $12 trillion investment. Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. APC-PDP fight over alleged plot to scuttle 2023 polls. Errors delay passage of 2023 appropriation bill. Atiku will implement the PIA's provision on host community fund, says Okowa. Soko oil field dispute. Bayelsa asked Ramfak to obey Supreme Court order. I'll unveil preferred candidate in January, says Wike. Troops kill 103 terrorists, arrest 40 others, destroy 57 illegal refineries. We ordered 500 million pieces of new Naira notes, says CBN. And I feared dead. Oh, one feared dead. Men injured as container falls on vehicles in Lagos. I think somebody took that story already.
Yes, we took it in the Punch. So the River State governor, your favorite governor, one of your favorite governors.
After Sonlulu.
And Soludo. You know, you like three of them now.
Yeah.
I promised to unveil the presidential candidate that he will support in 2023 poll.
Just celebrated 55.
And he's going to be unveiling this candidate in January. And he promises his people that after he unveils this candidate, he will now campaign state to state. He will be traveling from state to state to convince the people and tell them why they need to vote for this person he has so endorsed. That everybody that is talking left, right, and center, they should calm down. They should wait. By January, they will know the person that they are supposed to vote. And after the 2023 elections, is going to also retire some politicians. They have tried. They need to go and rest.
Including him now. It's not.
I don't
this
know.
Is last
He
term
added
now.
himself.
Anyway, no problem.
Remember the Soko oil field that has continued to be in dispute between Rivers and Bayelsa? And so a team from RAMFAC, that's the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, visited Bayelsa, and the Governor Doyediri, used the opportunity to remind them that, yes, the River State got a high court judgment giving them Soko oil field and the areas where it is located. But we got a Supreme Court judgment giving us the area and asking the National Boundaries Commission to demarcate clearly that area. And since then, RAMFAC and Federal Inland Revenue Service continue to pay River State proceeds of oil generated based on the High Court judgment that has since been overruled by an appeal court and the Supreme Court. And that, you know, he thinks that it's deliberate, that even several years after River State continued to take what is own, he thinks that they should withhold all proceeds so far accrued, calculate it, save it, and give it back to Bayelsa State that, you know, duly owns it. As long as it's a Supreme Court judgment, governor is right.
Vanguard.
No.
Oh, we have a story.
Still inside the Sun. The Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi, yesterday said if he's elected, that his administration will be driven by youths and women. He promised to increase the funding for educational sector, and he did this while speaking at the Port Harcourt Rivers State Town Hall meeting. He said that he would accommodate old people in his cabinet, mostly as advisors, while the youth would dominate running the government. And generally was just talking about other things he would do if he becomes the administration. I would also like to complete the story, the fact that the Atiku campaign also did their own town hall meeting, and in there, represented by Delta State Governor Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, he said that if Atiku gets into power, Atiku would be implementing the PIA Host Community Fund provision, which he feels will curry favor with those within the Niger Delta region, because this provision hasn't been implemented so far in the new bill that has been passed.
Okay, so let's move on quickly now to Vanguard Naira redesign, 500 million Naira. New note ordered, says CBN. Senate fails to pass the 2023 budget, cites errors, late submission. One killed, others injured as 40-foot container falls off in Lagos. Unitide AFG declares December 26th, 27th, I love Nigeria, and January 2nd, public holidays. Presidency, I'll disclose my choice candidate in January. That's Wiki. FG police wants to rig presidential election. Southeast blame it on IPOP ESN. Arise TV APC campaign dispute. Parties agreed to sheath their swords. Scarcity, growing queues at petrol stations, says Moman. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The Senate will not be passing the 2023 appropriations bill into law. It was supposed to be passed yesterday, but they had to defer, and they cited the fact that it was submitted late to them by the executive arm of the government, and it was filled with a lot of errors. So they have had to suspend their own Christmas holiday to sit back and attend to those errors so that they can, you know, do it in such a way that the two houses will be able to have an agreement before it's being passed into law. And they're also promising that it will be, the implementation of the budget will start January 1st. So hopefully by the 28th of December, it should have been ready to be passed, and let's see how that goes.
So the Nigeria Press Organization were able to wade into the feud between Arise TV and the APC Presidential Campaign Council. So there was a meeting which was held, I think it was yesterday, and from the Arise TV side, they had the Arise TV was represented by Mr. Nduka Bagbina, the owner himself, the managing director of this day, that's Eniola Bello, and Mr. Kayode Komolafe, that's the group executive of this day. And representing the PCC, that's the Presidential Campaign Council of the APC, they had Mr. Wudela Lake, who's the Director of Strategic Communications at the APC, and Mr. Olawale Edun, who's also a member of the PCC. And they're all there, and they sat down together, and they discussed amicably, and were able to agree that they should let bygones be bygones, and they both agreed not to release have any press release after the meeting, and they agreed to resolve all that is happening, and they've considered that in the interest of the press freedom of the country, and agree that the disagreement between the two parties should end without any preconditions. So I'm happy that they put a full stop in it. So those of you that are hanging out on the social media screaming and doing this, the key parties have said they're not doing it again. No, let bygones be bygones.
So, another story, Sha. Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, Moman, has expressed surprise, let me take it the way they take it, over the growing queues at petrol stations across the country. They
see major traffic.
Who is surprised?
Major traffic.
You know where I queue
Sorry, who is surprised?
Woman, Major Oil Marketers.
Major oil marketers
that
are
are surprised because products are available at depot.
I don't understand this, their discrepancies.
You know that major oil marketers are the ones that have been selling at normal price.
Yes.
So they say these persistent petrol shortages that we are seeing has returned, even though it went down after DSS threatening some people. So me, I just say, conspiracy way easy.
Yes.
To
making
cause
profit.
hardship.
Yes.
We are
Conspiracy
going
to make
back
profits.
to the adding to profit at December.
Yes.
Deception.
Now,
Yes.
we the people.
Major oil marketers, if you go to their filling station, you will see. They said that yesterday, they were shutting down. I want to mention the ones on Badagry, Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Because I drive. Why I came alive? I'll not have fuel in my car right now. So I know, even your people too, they were locking.
Like was saying yesterday, I was like, are you sure it's going to the DSS? And obviously, this is true. The DSS intervention.
By the time it was
actually
2 p.m. and now
And that they
they
have
have
stopped.
But why are people like this? Because the DSS threatened, everybody started selling, and now because everything is calm, they've started ordering again. The queues are a lot everywhere.
They want to
And it causes extra traffic.
They want to remove subsidy on the street. Remove it.
Somebody was telling me something. Only two things will help Nigeria move on. Judicial system and our policing. If those two agencies work, when there is justice, no matter what, if I slap your face, you can hold me accountable.
Yes.
You can do something and hold somebody
Everybody
accountable.
sit up.
Everybody would
Everything would work.
That's the only thing this nation needs. Those two
Safe
things.
way,
Justice,
We gotta run.
leadership.
That's all we can take on front of our last review of the year.